Hi, welcome back to the garden. Now, as you can see, I have another guest coming in, and today it's Phyllis. And Phyllis responded, as did many of you, but Phyllis was the first one that got back to me when I said, would you like me to do a reading on you that you're willing to share? So this brave lady, let's give her a round of applause.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
And Phyllis has agreed to let me do a reading on her. I have never read Phyllis before. I've never built a grid or anything for her. She is not an old friend. She's just a new friend, and make new friends. That's a fun thing. So we're going to, with the way I started reading Phyllis, now the rest of this conversation is going to be directed to Phyllis, guys. So just get used to it. The way I started reading Phyllis is I do 3 cards, and what I do, I call it blind. It means I haven't met you, I know anything about you. I just concentrate on you, shuffle these cards, and they're from the Angel Wisdom Tarot deck by Radleigh Valentine. I really like his cards. And this is what you got. You got some exciting stuff going on. Okay. This card is the past. The one in the middle is the present right now. And this is the future. And in the past, you got what is the equivalent of the 9 of Wands. It's the 9 of fire in this deck. He uses the old term for fire for wands. And it goes, protect what you have created. Be prepared. Now, this is what's been going on in the past. You've never given up. You've asked your angels for help. And have you been involved in activities that would be considered active?
Hello? I lost you.
Okay. Have you been involved in activities?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Have you been involved in activities that might be considered activism? Or like animals' rights? Rights?
Actually, yes, I kind of joined a political party to help change Georgia.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, it shows that you've learned a lot from that. But now your middle card, and this is what's going on right now. And you got the Knight, what would be the equivalent of as the Knight of Swords. And he is decisive, focused, driven, defensive, events that move with great speed. Choose the intellectual responses to these. Don't get involved in the emotions. That's the safest route for you right now. Sudden or unexpected changes. Review your ideas before you act on them. So the thing about the Knight of Swords is he's the most active in almost all the decks. When you see illustrations of him, he's the most active knight, and he's always wah, wah out there with the sword. And that means you can act, not that the message there is rash things can be happening around you, just don't tie into them. But your near future is lots of fun. It's the 3 of Wands or the 3 of Fire. And she looks a little like you. Great hair. Okay, planning for the long term. Abundance and great change. Pride in the success of your labors. Be patient and double check everything before you get into it. But this card's just, you can see her ship's actually coming in, and her ship's actually coming in over her head. It's like flying in. So the way I interpreted these 3 cards when I looked at them, Phyllis, was it's taken you a while. Why did it take you so long to accept compliments? Because once you found out you could accept compliments, that's when you began to understand your own success and accept your own generosity.
Wow, that one was spot on. I still have a little problem accepting compliments, but I'm working on it.
Well, I compliment you for being here. Do you know anything about tarot? Have you studied the cards?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting that there's so many wands. I mean, those were all, well, wands and one sword.
The sword. Yeah. The sword there is the intellectual action that's making the wands move. If you look at it,
okay.
When you look at the whole picture. So you got some exciting things coming your way. And so now we're going to go to, it's going to be a Celtic cross, and I'll explain to you what the placements of the cards mean. And you know, how you can help interpret them. And 4 of the cards are the near past and the far past, and like right today. I mean, like today. And then there's 6 cards that are future or speculative or part of things that are kind of out there. Anything that's in the future, if we get to a card and you go, no, I don't want that to happen, you can turn it around. That's why I love tarot. That's why I've always loved tarot so much, because you can change it and you can feel, I think sometimes, I'm not dissing on astrologers. I think some are very good, but a lot of times they'll oh, your planet's over here. You know, you got
Mm-hmm.
Mars and Scorpio, you're doomed. And I'm like, yeah, no, it just means you need to know that energy's there and then you have to work with it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so anything that's in the future that you really like, hang on to it. If it's something you don't, I've flat ass just taken cards and say, no, I just don't accept that that's there. Get it out of here. So I'm gonna put the camera back down so you can see what I'm doing. And I hope this doesn't give everyone violent motion sickness doing that. And this is Phyllis's next 3 months. And it's not everything that's going to happen in 3 months, but it's going to be things that are a major theme, one of them. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now this card, these two right now, this is today, and this is materialism. And you probably don't recognize that in a deck you have. In a traditional deck, that's called the devil. And what it means,
Wow.
though, that's why I use this deck, because the devil has so many other connotations. And in this case, what it means is sometimes you can get a little OCD, Phyllis. And so you
Yes.
focus too much on romance or money or ideas or stress or getting
Mm-hmm.
something done. And
Yes.
you do that to the sacrifice of your own spiritual self. As you see, this guy who's tied to this very Jesus-y looking guy, he has his back to the rainbow. He has his back to the spiritual part of his life. So this is a warning that right now you're probably bound up with so many things. And I think that it has to do with your family because of this
Yes.
card. There's some things going on with your family that are making you have to focus so much on that. That may explain some of these further cards out. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's do you have children?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that this kid's doing better than you think, but you're really hoping that they will walk away from a very difficult situation they've gotten themselves locked into.
Yes.
And they are. This card would imply they are moving away. They're not going to battle about it anymore. They're going to let that stress go. Well, that's the card you can't do much about, which is okay.
Okay.
And you can do a little bit about not getting OCD and overfocus. But I have 3 kids, and I know if one of them's in a difficult spot, it's really hard for me to get focused and out of sending them energy. Well, we'll send them good white light to get out of that. Okay. But this
Okay.
is your next card. This is great. This is all kinds of new endeavors. This is the Ace of Wands. Another wand for you, girl. And this one says that you're going into a whole new set of beginnings, and this spring is going to be a real turnaround time for you. And this is hopes and fears, and right side up or upside down, the 10 of Cups means a happy, strong emotional connections and ties. So I think a lot of things that have been weighing you down emotionally, you're going to get released from them. They're going to be gone from bothering you. And girl, you're psychic. Did you know that? You got
A little bit.
Yes. You got the High Priestess. And when you got the High Priestess, it means you know what's going on. It's just you have a hard time accepting it. And that's your lack of confidence. Like when I said you don't accept compliments, you also don't let your intuition run. I'm not saying let it run free, but let it more in so that you can tie to it better, because you're happier when you're sitting with her in a good position. And this card, the Lovers, in your case, it's reversed. Now, Lovers doesn't mean what most people think. Lovers means making choices. And right now, you kind of look at the choices you have and you go, like, I don't like any of them. I really kind of want to move on because I don't have the finances to handle any of the things I really want to go do.
That's so true.
But this is just patience. I think you want to move. Do you want to physically move, like move to a new location or?
Not yet. I'd like to travel again though.
Okay.
Yeah, the quarantine is just killing
Making
me.
you nuts. Okay. Well, this shows you're not going to be moving in these 3 months, but these cards show that in a way, your way of coping with that is to not think about where you could be going and not think about what you'd be spending. And maybe you should do a little more daydreaming. Maybe that's what the High Priestess is about. Let your intuition run wild. Okay, the day I get out of here, where can I go? What can I go do? And that will help you feel more well-rounded, because this spring, things are going to open up for you and open up in a new way.
Okay.
So, do you have any cards you have any particular question about of what I put out here?
The 10 of, is that the one?
Ten of Cups.
That one, yes.
Okay.
It's in the cups.
Okay. So I'm going to clarify the 10 of
Was that in the hopes and fears, or?
Yes, that was in hopes and fears. And the hopes and fears is a weird place for people on their boards, because a lot of times what they're really hoping for is the thing they're most afraid of getting. Because if I get what I really want, then what do I do? You know, what's my motivation? How do I move forward? I always say it's kind of like the dog catching the car. Okay, I got the car. Now what the hell do I do?
You know, I'm kind of feeling like that. It's like, okay, what's next? What?
Let's
yeah,
see.
I'm kind of at loose ends a little bit.
Yeah. I think we're all tired of being tied down. It was a year ago that I had my angels came and told me, you're going home, lady, and you're not reading cards for a while. And it was in February, and I went home before all the shutdown happened, and it really upset people I knew, because they're like, at that point, the news was talking about COVID, but it wasn't saying it was going to be as bad as it was going to get. And it really upset them, because the people who knew me as a psychic were like, how bad is it going to get? And I could see how bad it was going to get. I told my family how bad I saw it getting. My oldest son works in politics, so election day is always sort of that's like Christmas and Easter to other people if you live in a political family. And I said, he said, how's bad is it going to be? He said, 250,000. And this was in February last year.
Wow.
And he said, 250,000 are going to get sick? I said, no, honey, 250,000 are going to die before election day, and it's going to get worse after that. And he said, oh, Mom, I hope this time you're so wrong. I said, so do I. That's why I'm not talking about that. But unfortunately, I wasn't. So I've been literally in lockdown since then, because I have had my second COVID shot, and in 5 days I will be complete. You know, I mean, as far as what the vaccines and things can do, I'll be where I can get. But the problem is, of course, you know, these variants that are coming in, but also it's just, you know, the whole world's changed. The few times I go out, I go to the rock shop where I buy my crystals, and I don't go to stores. I don't do anything else. But anyway, your 10 of Cups. Oh, God, girl. Woo! You got 2 aces and the Tower.
Somebody the Tower.
Yeah, the Tower is not a bad thing. We need to get rid of old structures. You want to get out.
It can just mean change.
Just means big change, like big, sudden, rapid change. And it's change in money and your ability to move forward.
Wow.
I mean, that's powerful. That's an extremely powerful combination. And when you get going, when you get the money, you're going to have some way to either do what you really love and make more money at it, or find some money or something's coming. But what's going to happen is when you get the money, you're going to start plans and then have to stop them, because the Ace of Swords means you're moving forward, but it's not like the Ace of Cups or the Ace of Wands where you just skid forward. Now you've had everything but the Ace of Cups. You've had three aces in this reading. That's really strong. That really means a lot of good new stuff's coming. And
new beginnings.
I don't promise people tall, dark, and handsome and lots of money and stuff. I just read. Somebody said to me, how do you learn to read cards? I said, look at the card and read it. You know, it's the only thing you can do. And you can't sugarcoat it, and you can't. And I also don't like to awfulize things. I always like to say the way we can deal with this and push us in a positive light is this.
Now, a couple of the cards were like upside down.
Right. I read reverses.
So you read them in reverse when you read them for me. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like I said, you had the Lovers upside down. I said, you don't want to deal with the choices you might have to make here. I saw the Page of Pentacles upside down. That shows that you don't want to think about the money thing. You just want to, you know, I mean, when the Page of Pentacles is coming at you, he's bringing money and he's saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. Here's my money. And you're just
I'm going, no.
No, what you're doing is you're just not worrying about it.
True.
You're just going to handle what you need to do.
Is there any way to look? I forget the card that was the Empress card.
Yeah,
that was another one that was upside down.
The High Priestess was next to the 10 of Cups upside down. Now, the 10 of Cups is one of those weird cards. Right side up or upside down, it means the same thing. It can mean, if it's right side up, it means yeah, family and all this stuff's great. If it's upside down, it means it's great. But it's not like, woohoo, let's go put up fireworks over it. But
so
And she was right by that.
Okay. That was the Empress?
High Priestess.
High Priestess. And so that means intuition, or I should do something with it?
High Priestess is your intuition. That's when I said you're psychic. When that card shows up for me in someone's reading, and a lot of this is just years and years and years of reading, but you can, for me, when she shows up for people, I'll say, you're psychic, and they'll all kind of go, yeah, I really know it. Now, if it's reversed, they'll go, oh, well, I'm not. And I go, yeah, you are. You just won't acknowledge it, you know.
Okay.
And you can have all the intuition in the world, but if you don't acknowledge it, if you don't open up your heart to it, it's going to not do much good, or anybody else.
Right. And I'm not developing my spiritual self.
Well,
because that was the challenge.
You focus on things in this world that you know, what you can touch, feel, gather, whatever. And so you've turned your back on some of your spiritual development.
Okay. But I can turn that around.
Yep. You can turn anything around. You know, and the devil, I mean, the devil can be, in other decks, the devil is a very, very powerful, I'm coming to get you kind of card. But in this deck, I like him because it's that materialism card. The other card that's different in this deck that you don't have is the death isn't death, it's transformation. And that's actually what death means in traditional tarot. It means transforming. It's just as if someone dies and then all of a sudden they're not there anymore, but they're in another plane, they're near you, you can't touch them, you can't feel them. A whole lot of circumstances have changed, and you have to alter and change yourself with them, or stop. You've got two options, you know. And so when you're reading in a wine bar, you don't really want to put the devil on someone's table, and you also don't want to put death, because after a couple glasses of wine, that might look a lot bleaker than I can ever explain them away from. So,
well, I think your reading was spot on, because I am trying to emotionally extract myself from my kids' lives, you know, and try to, you know, let them go off and become, as you said. So that is tapping a lot of the energy I could be using to develop my own self spiritually. And in fact, that was my New Year's resolution, to try to, you know, develop myself more spiritually. But just like I kind of ignored the money thing, I kind of, let me get busy over here, let me get busy over there, instead of really sitting down and working on it.
Yeah, I used to work in politics, and trust me, politics is a black hole for the soul. You can get in there, and it's not people need to do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying you need to do it the balance, because when people get out of balance, that's when we get what we've got right now.
Exactly.
So I think it's great that you're being active in your neighborhood and active in your area and understanding the issues. I got a feeling you're more of an issues person than a person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, if we work for something we believe in, we can inject a lot of our own light and energy into that. But if you start creating worship for a person, well, you can see where that leads.
Yeah. I saw where it led.
Yeah, we all did. But anyway, did you have a specific question?
Actually, no, because you answered, like I said, you actually brought up the issues I'm dealing with without me even asking the questions. I really feel that I've neglected the spiritual side. And like I said, that was actually my New Year's resolution, to try to get a little bit more focused on that side of myself, and see
Can I suggest a really good book to you?
Sure.
It's called Angels Speak. It's ANGEL. Speak is attached to it. SPEAK, and then there's an E on the end of it. And and two sisters wrote it. And in the 1960s, they started having angels visit them and tell them how to develop their spiritual skills. If you want a book that just will take you through a lot of the really basic things to build your own spiritual sense, this is a great book. And they have, when they're writing from their experience, it's written in black. When the angels speak, it's written in red.
Wow.
And it really, I found it about 5 years ago. and it had gone out of print, so you used to have to go through used bookstores, and I was trying to get it to friends of mine. Now it's been reprinted so you can find it.
Okay.
But it's Angel Speak with an E on the end. And if you read through that, it will just awaken. Everybody I've given it to has told me it did really awaken something they sensed was there, but they couldn't quite put their finger on it. And the sister stories, interesting, they were raised in the Midwest. One ended up in Connecticut and the other one ended up in California. And at the same time, the angels started speaking to them at night, and they'd say, get up, you have to write this down. It went away. You got to write this down. And so they were kind of embarrassed. They didn't want to talk about it. I mean, they didn't go to that kind of church that had angels come and talk to you. And finally, one day, one of the sisters said to the other one, Trudy, are you getting these weird things? And they started comparing notes. They were getting the exact same thing on two sides of the coast.
Wow.
They were actually on Good Morning America. They used to come and talk about how their spiritual life had changed and how to bring this divine energy into your everyday living. They used to be on Good Morning America in the 70s. I never saw them, but they were 70s and 80s. And then they wrote their book. I'm not here. Go away. They ended up, they knew they were supposed to write a book, but they kept thinking, when are we going to write it? When are we going to write it? And they ended up writing their book because they ran a conference and something happened, and they ended up in this beautiful ranch in the Rockies. And the angels told them, okay, now get out the pens, girls, we're doing it. And the book's only about this thick. You can read it in an afternoon.
Wow. That might be important.
No, it's not.
No.
I'm 71 years old. They either want to give me extended insurance on my car, or do I know about Medicare? Well, I'm 71 years old. What do you I know about Medicare. I don't really want to talk to them. And they don't have my best interest at heart. They're not the angels. Angels don't call you on your phone and offer you cheap insurance. Let me tell you.
No, they don't.
They don't. So before we leave, I do one more thing when I do a reading. Oh, what happened to you? Okay, clear. Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I can't speak to you right now. Call me back. That one came through. I don't know who that is. I don't know how they got my phone number, so I know it's not someone off the YouTubes. Anyway, all right. I have a deck of cards in my phone, and it's called the Power of Surrender cards. And it's an oracle deck. You can get the hard deck. But what I do is, because I used to always be able to give my clients a little crystal or something off my table to take with them.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that anymore, but I can give you access to these cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle them. There's a little button down here that says shuffle. I'm just shuffling them. When you tell me to stop, I'll stop, and we'll see what that surrender card says. And then after we're offline, I will get your phone number and send it to you. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm shuffling.
Okay.
Ah, beautiful. You got surrender to inner peace.
That fits the reading.
I know. Oh, they always do. This deck is amazing. It says cultivate inner peace on a daily basis in quiet meditative moments.
Oh my gosh.
Focus on the stillness within and enjoy your own inner refuge. Others will feel your good vibes and your life will flow more easily.
That is amazing.
So I'm going to share that with you when we're off. What do you want?
I do have one more question.
Okay,
if you did give me a crystal, what kind of crystal do you think it would be?
I know what it would be. I used to give away fluorites, the little baby fluorites. And the reason I do is they're shaped like, fluorites. They're shaped like octahedrons. In other words, they're 8-sided. And they, let me see if I have one. Oh, here's a big one. Yours wouldn't have been this big. But they're shaped like this. Can you see how they're shaped?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it goes, and this every faith that I know of has a prayer that says something like, as above, so below, to the left, to the right, to the front, to the back, protect me. In other words, your energy is in the center of this, and you're creating, and that's what I would give to people. And I'd say, your energy and the power of this reading and the energy of this reading is now in this little crystal.
So I can get that at a rock shop, right? Yep. Okay, and how do you spell it?
FLOWER. Uorite.
Okay.
And
I'll get one.
yeah, and if somebody's out there who can't get out, you can buy fluorites, octahedrons pretty easily on the internet too.
Okay.
And that's your reading and lessons.
I really appreciate your reading. It just validated. Yes, it was right on spot.
And tonight it's going to be on at 7 o'clock on my channel. You're my show for the day. Okay. I'm going to warn people too. If you've been contacting me about getting grids, I got on Kim's channel, which has kind of blown my email box up. I actually got someone to come in and start being an assistant and helping me handle the appointments. I'm almost booked to April for grid readings. Now, this kind of reading I can fit in kind of any time, but grid readings take more time, and then of course I have to build the grid, so I can't get too overwhelmed with that. And then on top of it, my poor patient people who've been waiting for their grids. I live in Dallas. We're living through rolling blackouts and snow on the road, which, if you know anything about Dallas, that means everybody's freaked.
I was wondering if you were able to even get through, because I knew there were power outages.
No, I would have let you know. I've had a couple of other people I'm supposed to read today who are south of me, and they have no power. So anyway, please be patient with me. If you do write me, like I said, if you want the more complicated things that take 4 to 6 weeks, you're now going to be put out 4 to 6 weeks for the timing of the readings. But if you want a little, what I call a 3-month reading, this is what this is that I just did for Phyllis. I can do those. I used to do 30 or 40 of those a day, and so they don't tire me out. Dealing with the rocks and dealing with the grids, I have to just say I have 3 days a week that I read and 2 days a week that I do nothing but build. And right now I can't build because I need to open the windows because of the epoxy. So this has just been a week. Mercury, go effing direct. I mean, I'm so tired of this.
This too shall pass.
Yes, and I'm not doing a good sample of being patient, because I'm not. I'm like, Jupiter, pedal faster. But anyway, it was delightful to meet you. And like I said, I did 2 shows with Kim. We meant to do one, and then her internet went out halfway through. If you watch the first one, I look around the grid and I go, where'd Kim go? And then we go back to me talking with Kim. But she is very gracious, and she is very interested in the crystals. She's interested in how these 2 things tie together. But a lot of what I learned working with cards, I now use with the crystals, because I read cards instinctively. I do my grids instinctively, and I just have to trust that what I'm coming up with is the best path forward. And you have some wonderful, I'm going to keep up with you, Phyllis. And you do have to come back. You have to come back. Oh, I did a reading on a woman named Allie, who I do know. I did know her before I did the reading. She's still happy up in Brooklyn, still has her job, still doing what she's doing. And she thanks all the people who sent some nice notes about what she seemed like such a nice person. She is that nice of a person. And some of the things we saw have come through for her. So, and that's hard when you're sitting alone. And well, she's married, but when you're sitting in a small apartment in Brooklyn, to have as many things that she had come towards her and work. So.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And yes, I'm available for any follow-up that you ever want to do. And I promise I'm going to try to, you really lit the fire under me to do what my intentions were, get real about it.
What we might do, Phyllis, is if you get Angel Speak and you read it, we could sit and talk about it together.
I will.
Then we can kind of have a book club going here.
Hey, anyway, that would be great.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Bye.
Okay.